and welcome to today's video. Today's video is all about pregnancy prep. It's a very personal experience. I mean, obviously all of this stuff you want to kind of clear with your doctor and that sort of stuff. I'm just going to be telling you my story and what I did to prep my body for pregnancy. And it was actually about 3 years in the making, honestly, which is kind of wild to think about. I knew I wanted kids in the future, and I just wanted to make sure I was doing all the things that I could, because it seems like you hear about all the time infertility issues and stuff like that. So I just wanted to kind of prep my body, balance my hormones, and try and do the right thing. So really what started me on this journey is a combination of a life change and a pregnancy prep sort of thing. Fertility, hormone balance, all of that was kind of intertwined together of what made me really start this journey. Because who preps 3 years before? I mean, that is kind of wild to think about. Like, oh, I want to have a kid in 3 years. I didn't know exactly when I wanted a kid, but I knew I wanted them. So when I started this journey, that was in the back of my mind. So for me, I overall wanted to be healthier. I wanted to feel better. I was having a huge problem with fatigue. I was just so tired all the time, and I just didn't feel like myself. It was a very odd feeling, and a feeling that I had never felt before. And with my situation, my husband and I, we move around a lot, so I didn't know if it was the fact that we were moving or what. I didn't know if it was that sort of stuff or if it was me. Come to find out, it was actually me and my lifestyle choices. But yeah, this is just a big advocator. You know if something is wrong with your body, you know if something's off balance, and you really have to listen to it because you know yourself more than anybody. Like, you know how you feel, you know your emotions, if it's normal or not, and you really need to listen to that. So to start off with, I'll go back to, I didn't feel like myself. I was pretty melancholy. I had low energy, low fatigue. I wasn't really excited about things. I was just kind of like in the rut of just going through the motions of work and life. And it was just a circle that I wasn't familiar with. And I don't know. I don't think I was depressed. I don't think it was that bad, but I really didn't feel like myself. Then I heard about a book called The Beyond the Pill right here. This book changed my life. Highly suggest reading it. If you are on hormonal birth control and you feel like something is off, and honestly, if you're on hormonal birth control and you don't feel like something is off, highly suggest reading it because it talks about your hormones and how to balance everything and to make sure you're staying happy, healthy, eating the right things. So that's where this whole health journey really became like a pregnancy prep, because this book talks about women's hormones and balancing that and how that's so important for how you feel, how you act, and you know how the foods that you're putting in your body balances with your body, that sort of stuff. So it's funny how it's all connected. It's like how a lifestyle change of wanting to be happy and healthier really connects to like a pregnancy prep journey. So I don't know, if someone would have told me to read that like 3 years before, you know, I probably would have avoided having that down season in my life. So I don't know. It's just something to keep in mind. Highly suggest reading that. It's super good. So after reading that book, I got off the pill. I started balancing my hormones. I went on that whole journey. I bought supplements to help me regulate after I got off the pill. Some things that I took, things like, I'm trying to think, ashwagandha, magnesium, different vitamins, making sure I was getting enough vitamin D, just certain things like that to make sure I was well balanced and that I was eating the right foods. One thing that really, really helped me that I believe was Organifi products. They have one that's specifically for women's health and balancing that. Loved that one. I still drink today the red juice, but I am pregnant now. Spoiler alert. But the green juice is also wonderful, only the apple one. I don't like the regular one. The apple one tastes better, but you definitely have to get past the taste a tiny bit, but then you get used to it. The Organifi Gold, which is like a sleep sort of supplement thing, is really good if you take it with milk. And sometimes I'd add a little bit of hot chocolate to it to make it taste a lot better. So I don't know, you just have to do things that work for you. But overall, I like all their products. They're really good. And I really love how they make me feel. So they're 100% worth it. They're kind of pricey, but I love them. I'll probably always take them. Another big change that I implemented was making sure I was getting a healthy sleep pattern. So I was one of those people that would wake up in the middle of the night just thinking about something and looping and just thinking and thinking and thinking. And, I'd be awake for anywhere between 20 minutes to an hour. And I was like, why am I awake? It's the middle of the night. I should be sleeping. So doing things like that exercise and I even did things like very low lights. I changed all the light bulbs in my house to be low lumens, like the lowest one I could find. And they were all warm lights now. So you'll see sometimes in my videos that when my lights are on, it's like a very orangey color. That's to help balance like sleep patterns and stuff like that. But I did change that. That is something that I did do. But I also think sleep connects to like your personal and professional relationships with people as well. So making sure you're nurturing those and you're in a healthy place is also very, very important to get a good night's sleep and peace of mind. All of that stuff is very important. So nurturing that, making sure that's in a safe space. And just whenever you go to sleep at night, it's like you have that peace of mind is really unlike anything. So for me, sleep was a huge one because I felt like I wasn't getting really good night's sleep. It's like I was in my head. The next thing that I made a huge change to was food. I really cut out all processed food. I cut out all seed oils. This was back at the beginning. Now I'm a bit more lenient. I can eat a little bit. And I do still try to limit it as much as possible, but I'm not as strict as I was at the beginning. Here, you want it? Food-wise, I really focused on minimally processed. I needed more meat. I wasn't getting enough protein in my diet that wasn't processed protein, and I really didn't know the difference between the two, which is kind of embarrassing to think about, that those basic things. I really, I thought a chicken breast was the same as like chicken nuggets. Yeah, it's not, spoiler alert. But I try to also eat plenty of fruit and veg of like good stuff that reacts well to me. I try to eat eggs now. So there are things that are very, very important to eat. And yeah, I just wasn't getting it before, and I just needed to eat those foods to help support my body. Before, I honestly thought that like the epitome of health was like a vegan diet. So like sometimes I would buy like the Beyond Meat and I really didn't like it, but I was like, oh, this is healthy. But that is so ultra processed. There are not any nutrients in it. I mean, there might be some, but like compared to like ground beef, there's like, I don't know, there's no comparison. So I really made that lifestyle change. Wow, that is what made me feel the best. That made the biggest impact on how I felt day to day in terms of energy, in terms of feeling like myself, in terms of everything. The food was the biggest thing, genuinely. Like, wow. And those supplements. I think the Organifi supplements and all the support stuff that I was taking was help healing my body. I think I just wasn't in a good place metabolically, or I don't know. I think all of that was impacting my body and how I felt. So if you're going to change anything, change the food thing. That makes the biggest difference. What I changed with exercise during this whole journey, I do lightweight lifting with the kettlebell specifically. I love the kettlebell. If you don't have a kettlebell and have tried that exercise, highly recommend trying it because it's like my favorite thing now. Some people love it, some people hate it. I personally love it because I can do it every day and it's not that hard for me. But some people absolutely hate it. But I do weight training with a kettlebell, and then I also do walking. Before, I used to sign up for spin classes and different types of exercise, that was high intensity cardio, and that just did not work for me. I feel like my body didn't respond well to it. And this is something that I can sustain every day. I try to do the weightlifting every day, like with the kettlebell, but it really is like 3 to 4, sometimes 5 if I'm good, times a week. and the walking is every day. And that is something that I can sustain. It's really all about finding what works for you and your balance and what makes you feel the best. And at this season in my life, it's definitely that. But yeah, I am in my second trimester, so I'm not doing anything too crazy. I don't know if this counts as exercise, but definitely getting outside and getting enough vitamin D. I try to lay out in the sun now that it's summertime at least 20 minutes every day, or I'm outside walking for at least 20 minutes. So I am getting that sunlight exposure just because I want to make sure I'm getting that vitamin D. I feel like it's healthy for our bodies to be out in the sun. Obviously, you want to protect yourself. You don't want to get burnt, that sort of stuff. But I think being exposed, and if you're out for like 20 minutes, your chances of getting burnt aren't very high. And you can be out during a time of the day where it's not that bad. So between eating the right foods, getting outside, going for my walks, all of that stuff, I feel like I am in the best place I've ever been in my life. I honestly feel like I look the best. I feel the best, in my opinion. So I don't know. I think it's all about doing what works for you to where you feel the best. I could always eat a little bit better. Sometimes on the weekend, I'm bad about indulging. It's like yesterday, I was craving a root beer float. I mean, I didn't get one, but like I really wanted one. And if I lived close to a place that had one, I would probably get one. But it's just stuff like that. That is where I slip up, and I'm still trying to do better. But I mean, I also feel like you got to live your life a little bit. I do like to indulge. But I am to that point to where I want to do that. If you would have told me that at the beginning of this health journey, I was so desperate to change my life and change how I felt, I cut it out completely. So keep that in mind when you're going through that, because I was to that point where I was like, I have to do something. I have to make a change. And honestly, cutting out all of that junk, all of that sugar, all of that processed food, all of those seed oils, it is crazy how much of a difference it makes. Another thing I want to add on to the whole sleep thing, during pregnancy, one of my major food aversions was coffee, which is wild because I loved coffee before. It was like my favorite thing. I wanted to wake up and drink it like immediately. It was just like, I love the way it tastes and it made you feel. I just loved coffee. Anyway, this whole pregnancy, I'm like, ugh, that sounds awful. And I have slept so good. Part of me thinks my improved sleep during pregnancy has to do with like me completely cutting out coffee. I do like a tea in the morning, but so I haven't cut out caffeine completely. I just drink that 1 cup of tea. But other than that, I don't know, something to keep in mind if you're not getting great sleep. Now, this is a big one when it comes to fertility, is switching to clean products. Wow, is this a hard journey? Like, I laugh because when my husband and I decided to take on this journey together, because, you know, as you're reading a book and stuff, if you have a husband that's, I don't know, interested in that sort of stuff. I don't know if my husband really was, but I would tell him anyway. But anyway, I would tell him about how certain fragrance and certain products can like decrease testosterone, can decrease sperm counts, can like do all of this stuff. And same for women. It's like it can be photoestrogenic or something like that, where it can like mimic estrogen. So it's basically like a fake hormone that you're putting on your body that makes your body think that it's estrogen. Anyway, these chemicals are just horrible for yourself. And so many of our products, like we loved Bath and Body Works products. We loved Bath and Body Works candles. We loved, one of our favorite things to do on a date night was to go to Home Goods and like pick out a candle and like do that sort of stuff. So wow, whenever we started this journey, it was like everything we loved, we had to get rid of. And that was so hard at first because we were like, why can't we just be like everyone else and like, buy the candle? We really wanted to make the switch and do it for ourselves and do it for our family. So we have products like Dr. Bronner's. We switched our laundry detergent to clean detergent, hand soaps. Candles, we really don't like candles anymore, but we will if it's like a essential oil candle. I mean, here and there we'll light one, but like literally I have one over there that someone gave us that's from Yankee Candle, and it's nice, but it's not like an essential oil, and I think we've lit it once in the past 6 months. So, I mean, we just don't really like, it's like when you don't want to light it. You like don't want to buy the product. So we kind of went through that journey where we were like mourning the loss of all the things that we love. But yeah, I don't know. We did make that switch. We also made the switch to more natural deodorants, which has been completely fine. That was a hard switch for my husband, but I got him one that he liked. I think it's like the Dr. Sasquatch or something. But he really loves that one. So it's like you just have to try different ones until you find something you like. I like the Tom's one. That one's pretty good. But long story short, if you checked the EWG website, the clean products, that's huge for me. I totally switched my makeup, got rid of all the crap, all the bad stuff, my skincare, switched to Primally Pure, which is like beef tallow, which is kind of hilarious. If you would have, told me that's what I would be using on my face every night 2 years ago, I would have been like, why would I do that? But it's what I use and I love it now. It's like my favorite thing. So I don't know. It's just something to think about. You got to do your research and you'll change and you just won't look back because all these products are honestly better too. Like they do so much better. It's not like a money grab or anything. Now I will say I felt like I was living a relatively healthy lifestyle beforehand. I never drank, I never smoked, I never really got into that whole world. I tried to eat healthy, but there were things that I thought was healthy. Like I thought vegetable oil was more healthy than butter. And like probably a lot of kids that grew up in the 90s where that was everywhere. It was like, that's the healthy thing to do. But yeah, now we are a completely canola oil, vegetable oil free house. We don't even really like using olive oil or avocado oil. Like we try to just use butter and that sort of thing. So I don't know, we've just totally made the switch. We're not looking back. We don't miss it at all, honestly. I do think about sometimes if we had never made those switch, would we have had trouble? So, here I am now. I'm in my second trimester. In terms of fertility, the first month we started trying, we got pregnant right away. We haven't had any problems so far, Lord willing. And I'm feeling great. I do think back at if we hadn't made these changes, what would our life look like? And people like Jordan Dooley that I followed on Instagram, she had heavy troubles with her fertility, and she posted about it all the time about clean living and this sort of stuff. So it's like I saw some people online going through this journey as well. So I encourage you to find people online, like on Instagram and stuff, that are going through this journey and seeing what they're doing, what products they're using, what they're cutting out, what they're eating for dinner, that sort of stuff. That to me was the most helpful in this journey because you didn't feel so alone. You feel like you were learning more. And ultimately, Jordan, she had, I think, a few miscarriages and she ended up being able to get pregnant, and they also adopted a cute little baby as well. So I don't know, it's just stuff like that. I do think about if we hadn't made the switch, would we have had fertility issues? Because I know so many people who have had fertility issues. So it is something you think about, but I do feel extremely blessed. I'm grateful that we went on this journey. I feel better for it. I'm happier for it. And I don't know, it's just something to keep in mind. But thank you all so much for listening to this. I thought about making a video on this sort of stuff when I was going through it all, but I just didn't know. I didn't feel like I knew enough, and I wasn't on the flip side to where I was like, oh, I'm feeling great, I'm better, because it's definitely a gradual thing. Like, you don't wake up the next day and be like, oh my gosh, I took all these supplements yesterday and now I feel magically better. Like, it takes months. Like, I would say give yourself at least 6 months in order to feel the effects and feel the changes, which seems like such a long time. But looking back, that is like how long it takes for you to fully feel it. It's crazy how we live in a world where we have to take charge and protect ourselves as women, in the sense of we have to protect ourselves from chemicals, we have to protect ourselves from food, about labels lying to us. Like, so many times I've been greenwashed. Like, I'll buy a product thinking that it's like paraben free, clean, and then it's like I'll read the label like after I get home, stupidly, don't do that anymore. And then see like all these chemicals that are in it that are just not good for you. So it can be a bit depressing, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like you feel like everything's trying to poison you, and it kind of is. So something to keep in mind. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching today's video. If there's anything you want me to talk about more, leave a comment down below of like more of a deep dive, because I kind of did a brief overview of everything. I don't mind, because I love this topic. I love this subject. Again, this is just coming from me. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't know anything about that sort of stuff. I just know I research stuff for me and what applies to myself, and that's what I found out, and I feel better for it. So something to keep in mind. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye now.